Hey, Earl, what's this bit that was sent to us by Mikey Boy's guy? What's his name?
Sleeves.
Yeah. You want to play? Do you want to play that or?
Oh boy, long, very long.
Long what?
Gone with the Wind, long. You know, the tight little bits.
Earl, what do you
long.
think?
Nah, it's too long.
But here's the thing. Mikey Boy's a big fan of the guy. Says he's a unique personality. Perry's a fan of his, too. What? I haven't listened to it. Is it funny? Is it interesting?
It's interesting in spots, but it's just
spots?
It's just way too long.
Because you're funny occasionally.
Just a hit and miss.
Yeah. There are times when you're very amusing.
And then, poof, it's gone again.
Yeah.
Really, it's a big epic.
I'm going to tell you right now, I've never gotten a bad, a bum move here from Mikey Boy, who I really trust is the actual producer of the show.
Well, he is great, but I'm just saying, it's kind of like a wide Earp. It's a big epic, but no.
Mikey Boy would be with us on a full-time basis, except for he needs money to live, and our guys don't.
He's a fashionable lawyer.
It is true. You are only funny occasionally.
Just in spots.
What do you feel the need to do? Here's a fun fact for you. It's Fez's fun fact.
Just a factoid, really.
I want to hear this bit. And it's short?
All right. No, it's quite long. It's very, very long. And it goes on and on.
So do you. And you're in here every day.
Well, that's a good point.
Earl, let me hear your vote. Yes or no?
I would say no. It's too long.
I'm going to have to give a thumbs down.
Fez, you haven't listened.
I have not heard it.
Yeah.
The only thing I've heard about it is it may be too long.
What's your vote?
I'll say no if it's too long.
0 for 3? I want to give it a shot. I really feel like taking the odds on.
Okay. But, you know, you might live to regret it, is all I'm saying.
I won't. I'll be happy that I'm taking a piss. Here it is. Sleeves is his name? Sleeves?
Yeah, it goes by the name Sleeves, and it's called The
Young brother run by the name of Sleeves.
And the piece is called The Natural.
Once upon a time, there was a chubby little boy cowering in the beach sand, his little big bottom mooning out of the little big boy trunks his mother had picked out for him. This was little Fez Marie Watley, and this was his first time to the beach. What a sad introduction to the life of Riley. His mouth was full of sand, his face was red with shame, and even his fatty tears were imprisoned in the gritty dust packing the corners of his eyes. For Fez was being treated to the old Charles Atlas by a merciless and smelly gang of very weak, very pale, very cold-fingered little boys, each wearing a large crooked pair of glasses, and on their respective thumbs a cheap souvenir ring from the snack shop gumball machine. But a gang nonetheless, an organization as heartless as a pack of dogs, and young Fez Watley had no choice but to submit to their brutal fury. They were just about to begin a second round of sand kicking when a bit of a too strong, too black shadow verged into their midst. A shadow much darker, richer, and threatening than any shadow cast by any of them. They stood back, capped their foreheads with their palms. "Beat it," a small, curving voice boomed, confident, compelling, both cat-like and cocksure. And the little gang scattered like mice. Fez shaded his eyes to discover the identity of his able savior. "Who are you?" he gasped as the gravel dust exploded from his lips, like the time his mean brother dared him to whistle with his mouth full of saltines. And oh, the trouble he'd gotten into with Mother. But he could only see the proud and brooding, the short, magnificent outline of his hero, who soon rotated out of the sun and lowered a hand to help the young baggy victim. "My name's Ron. You could call me Ron," said Ron, in a little leather bomber jacket, blue jeans, and black boots. Fez was smitten by this too-good-to-be-true and too-bad-to-be-false fellow who stood in the 100-degree heat in full tough guy regalia, with nary a glisten of sweat, cool as the proverb-lacking cucumber. Although, curiously later, Ron would be sought out by sundry ladies just for this vegetable quality. Ron began to glide off. As he did, he muttered, "Dumbass," under his breath, his catch-all for nitwits and nincompoops. "Wait!" cried Fez, bounding forward weakly over his trumpet thighs. "How did you do that, back there with those boys?" Fez asked, mouth still full of the strange hard cereal known as sand. Ron allowed his right eye to slowly take its vertus to gaze at young Fez. "I'll tell you under one condition." He squinted. "What?" Fez said. "Anything. Kick sand in your own face, and I'll tell you how to stop other boys from doing it." Fez plumped down hard on the earth, like a merry bag of gelatin, blubbing for a moment until a type of inertial quiescence settled his fleebling quiver. He rubbed his feet in slow motion, trying to gather speed enough to vault the sand from the beach into his own face. "I'm not strong enough. I can't do it," Fez shouted in frustration. "Here," Ron said. "We'll pretend." Ron picked up a handful of sand, and as Fezzy moved his legs as an old lady might, trying to scout out a lost slipper beneath her bed, Ron threw the sand into Fezzy's face. Even as the thrown sand was striking his uvula, Fez blurted out, "Now tell me how to stop the other boys from doing that." Ron rubbed his hands, lit a previously half-smoked cigarette from his schoolboy pack, and said, "I just did, kid." "But how?" Fez said. "I don't get it." Ron shrugged. "All you gotta do is not be there kicking it in the first place." "But I'm not helping them," Fez complained. "Impasse," Ron said. "What?" Fez said. "You and me are at her," Ron said. "By the way, I can see his hair sticking out your diaper." "It's not a diaper. It's my swimming trunks all the way from New York." "Nevertheless, you should clean that rig up, or somebody will take a hose to you. And let me tell you this, now from experience, you don't want no hose down in the driveway for a sand old ass." Fez never did understand the lesson of that day, but he made a pact with himself to always pretend that he understood lessons, especially when he didn't. He also knew that the only way he could get away with such a life of pretending to understand lessons was by sticking with someone who did understand, someone who understood things without ever having to learn them. Unnatural, which is what Fez said to the air, to the universe, in a moment of perfect and absolute clarity. "Why, you're a natural." And as young Fez Marie wondered how he could possibly manage to stay with the natural spoke to him. "Come on, buddy. Let's start putting this band together. For Ronnie B. knew, as the street is to the car, as fire to the forest, so too does the natural need the unnatural. But just as there are mysteries abounding in the world to explain, there needs to be someone there to explain them too. Someone to listen, someone to work off of, someone to misunderstand.
St. Christopher, smoking on. Walking down the rumble seat, let the radiator fall. Got it overhead downshift in a $2.
All right, that's the end of part one. Part two coming up in a few moments.
Books on tape. Turn the page.
What did you think, Fez?
I enjoyed it. I didn't care how I was depicted so much, but overall I enjoyed the production qualities of it.
You didn't like that me and you came off like a couple of cartoon mice that didn't bother you even slightly? Here, kid.
I felt like I came off as Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Patow!
That's in real life. I thought you were portrayed a little better here. Chuck, you're on Fez.
Yeah, Ronnie, what's going on?
What do you say, buddy?
Yeah, I'm going to listen to that later tonight to put me to sleep.
There was something a little hypnotic about it. There's no doubt about that.
It's that Scottish whatever.
Scottish?
Well, what was that accent?
I have no idea what it was, but I can tell you it wasn't Scottish. Fred, you're on Run of Fez.
Hey, that was very interesting. It's a lot like Harry Potter book on tape. Kind of the same voice going on there.
Don, you're on Run of Fez.
Fezzy, I just want to say I don't really think you were painted in too well of a light there with that story, especially with trumpet thighs and an old woman trying to scout a slipper underneath the bed.
Yeah, it was very...
I wasn't the most capable in that rendition.
Well, that was you as a little kid, not now. Now you're on top of things. You're like James Bond. Andrew, you're on Run of Fez.
As a literary critic, I have to say the characterization is perfect. However, too long, not enough of a focus, and I didn't really feel a sense of dread or doom or threat from the bullies. You know, there should have been some sound effects.
He's just a storyteller. He's not a guy who does sound effects. I got news for you. If I could do that voice, I'd be doing it constantly.
He was doing all the voices in that thing.
Let's not, give him too much credit. It's one voice over and over.
And I believe I was British.
Phil, you're on Run of Fez.
Hey, what's up, boys?
Yeah.
Do me a favor, can you call Einstein? He just drove into a ditch.
To me, I think there's something there. I really do. Sleeves could be the future voice of the Run of Fez show.
The voice is good, but the length has got to be shaved down. Let's get it to 2 minutes.
We're not talking about a cock. We're talking about comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, but his comedy, it's not like set-up punchline stuff. It's more about setting the mood. And you had to admit, you started to glaze over and fall into that world.
But if people are driving, listening to our show, they will be dead.
It's like Shakespeare. You don't have to get it all to get it. You know what I mean? You don't have to understand it to get it. Here's John, you're on Run of Fez.
Yo, what's up, guys? I thought that was really good, and it sounded like an Orson Welles reading. I think that really flowed well.
There's something very, very strange about it. Dan, you're on Run of Fez.
Hey, wait till Dave gets his tattoo tomorrow, and then, right after the guy puts the needle away, fire his ass.
That would be great. As soon as you get whackbag.com tattooed on you. And then you just have to go around the O&A gigs with a tin cup, hoping people would love you. Here's Matt. Matt, you're on Run of Fez.
Yeah, I want to know if Earl listened to that before the show, and that's why he passed out.
Wow, man. People can be so brutal. You see that, Dave? It's not just you. It's anything that's not me and Fez. They attack.
Well, that makes me feel a little bit better then, I guess. You know?
Shouldn't.
No?
Well, you're no Sleeves.
I mean, I don't try and put on a Scottish accent, at least, so I have one up on Sleeves there. You know?
What about you going for a joke one day?
That was an attempt.
Seriously.
That's the sad part about it.
That's a missed layup.
Yeah.
And in terms of basketball and comedy, come on, bro. It's right there for you.
Okay.